While Jimmy Fallon is certainly no stranger to the limelight, the recent events have stunned everyone. Something significant has come to light, and it's causing more questions than it answers, hidden under the laughs and late-night charm. A popular TV host is at the center of a scandal that is causing waves in the business. How did this happen? Unpredictable events abound in this narrative. Find out what happened and why everyone is talking about it by continuing to watch. A son of Gloria and James W. Fallon, James Thomas was born in Brooklyn, New York on September 19, 1974. His ancestry is very varied, including Irish, Norwegian, and Germanic descent. Before serving in the Vietnam War, Fallon's father spent his teenage years singing with street corner doo-wop groups. His father took a job with IBM in Socrates, New York, so the family relocated there shortly after he was born. Overprotected but wonderful was Fallon's childhood, he said. Being at home with Gloria, his older sister, for the majority of his time, it should come as no surprise that Jimmy Fallon was raised in a Catholic family, given his mother's unusual background. For a while, my mom lived as a nun. Strange, isn't it? While appearing on the Howard Stern show, Fallon made the announcement. Fallon claims that his mother's marriage to the religion was short-lived. For about 7 days, he mentioned. On paper, though, it's valid. It was actually after she left the convent that his parents reconciled. She had an affair with her first husband, Jesus, whom she wed, with co-host Robin Quivers interjecting. Fallon came clean about his own dalliance with the ministry, saying that he had considered becoming an altar boy in the past. It was brilliant. I was really into it, he said on the radio show about his aspirations, but he later confessed that the idea died out when he was in 8th school. While speaking at the New Yorker Festival, Fallon rehashed additional details of his brush with the clergy. I thought it was a fantastic concept. I love dressing up, Fallon reportedly said. Incense is a wonderful aroma. According to Fallon, he has realized that his passion in becoming a priest was driven by Hollywood. He recalled how, as an altar boy, it was his first time performing on stage. You and the priest are both on stage now. Co-starring with someone else is my job. When young Jimmy Fallon outgrew his interest in the priesthood, he focused on a career in show business. Fallon showed off his 8th grade yearbook on an episode of The Tonight Show. Accessed a page where his instructor foretold her students' futures. A picture of his younger self at a desk with a computer appeared as the camera slid down the page. His instructor had foretold his future. The late-night show will be hosted by James Fallon instead of David Letterman. I want to take this teacher to the racetrack, Fallon joked, very near. When Fallon was a teenager, he was totally engrossed in SNL. He insisted on seeing each episode independently, determined not to miss any detail. His reason for going on the show was that he didn't want anyone to spoil his pleasure. No small talk. I was curious in the new characters, the sketches, and the perspective. Although he was not of legal drinking age, his parents were somewhat tolerant and let him have a few brewskis to relax with while watching the game. I would settle down with a 6-pack of Pabst and some quiet time, he declared. I simply sit and watch the show and record it. I'm not sure if I made it through all 6. Jimmy Fallon found that he could imitate people well while he was a teenager residing in upstate New York. While tuning in to the radio one day, his mom heard about a competition looking for the most hilarious unknown comedian from the Hudson Valley. 2 or 3 minutes of an impression were performed at Bananas Comedy Club in Poughkeepsie, New York. "'Cause I can hear all of your voices when you're in your room, my mom suggested this to me, Jimmy. What else are you hearing?" I asked. "This is really unsettling." In an interview, Fallon reflected on the moment he chose to try it. He orchestrated a skit in which he defeated 12 famous impersonators competing to represent a troll doll. Lots of cash would be great. Around $500 would be my guess. I had been working since the age of 13, so that was a substantial amount of money for just 2 minutes of work. Fallon remembered. "This is my future. I panicked out, and that's it." Yes, the harsh reality was that you can't expect to earn $500 every 2 minutes. Fallon took it as a sign to start entering talent events, and after landing a job as the MC at the very comedy club, he spent a lot of time perfecting his stand-up routine. He mentioned that he would perform stand-up comedy on weekends, gradually including more voices and music. In order to pursue a career in comedy, Jimmy Fallon chose to leave the College of St. Rose just before graduating and relocate to Los Angeles. In the beginning, he slept on a friend's couch while he got his bearings. According to Fallon, he counted himself lucky to have had the opportunity to take improv training at the Groundlings. Among his numerous thrilling experiences, he spoke about landing his first screen credit in a bit part as a photographer on the Michael J. Fox comedy Spin City. Fallon might not have landed the role if it weren't for another future star. During his 1998 internship at Spin City casting office, Chris Evans, actor of Avengers fame, confirmed his status during an appearance on The Tonight Show. "Was that your first job that I gave you? What do you think?" Evans inquired. "All of my professional success has been because of you." A joke was made by Fallon. Fallon remembered that he didn't perform anything particularly noteworthy during his audition. On the other hand, Evans brought up the fact that casting is completely at random, recalling the incident where his supervisor would take 2 or 3 resumes and headshots from a large stack of envelopes sitting on his desk before discarding the remainder. "Then you thought, wow, this industry is brutal," Evans chimed in. Jimmy Fallon got an audition for Saturday Night Live not long after he booked his position as Spin City. Fallon came clean about trying out for the comic strip in NYC with his troll doll routine. Unfortunately, the audience's negative reaction rendered it a total bust. Instead of him, Tracy Morgan was cast in the show, he said. Fallon went back to Los Angeles with the sinking realization that his ambition had escaped him. He was asked to re-audition a year later, but this time he was told to take the troll doll off. According to Fallon, he went back to New York to try out for Saturday Night Live after rewriting his act. Creator Lorne Michaels is known to be somewhat serious during auditions, so Fallon was pleasantly surprised when his Adam Sandler impression got Michaels laugh so hard that he buried his head in his hands. Fallon said he felt like he was flying as he walked off the stage, describing the experience as bizarre. Even Tina Fey, who saw Fallon's audition, said that she knew right away that she would be a great addition to the show. "Out of everyone I've ever seen, he was the only one who seemed totally prepared to be a contestant." Vanity Fair was informed by Fey that Kristen Wiig is the other one, and Jimmy was prepared as if there had been a show that night. A long-standing feature of the Carol Burnett show, which Lorne Michaels saw as an attempt to get cheap laughs, was the cast members breaking character and laughing during a comedy, which was one of Michaels' first orders for Saturday Night Live. Nevertheless, Jimmy Fallon gained fame for his frequent onstage laughs. In fact, breaking character has since been dubbed Jimmy Falloning. His co-stars weren't always into his laughing fits, but spectators loved them. Tracy Morgan was an exception to the rule. By doing so, you are essentially saying, "Oh, look at me, I'm the cute one," while simultaneously drawing attention away from everyone else. It was never his intention to stray from character during sketches, but Fallon admitted in an interview that he often found himself unable to resist. He stressed that he felt terrible and did his best not to chuckle whenever it happened. Yet, knowing how simple he was to make laugh, his co-workers, including Will Ferrell and Molly Shannon, started doing it on purpose. Fallon admitted that he probably broke character in a lot of skits that nobody noticed, but he did become famous for his reactions in a handful. Jimmy Fallon's brief stint as a model is one of the most peculiar anecdotes about his career. True enough, in 2002 he was chosen to grace the covers of Calvin Klein's print ads. When approached to be a Calvin Klein model, Fallon said he was both startled and thrilled. The prospect was surreal, he said, because he never thought of himself as attractive, even as a comedian. He made a joke about wanting the billboard to be placed exactly above the Improv Comedy Club as he reflected on the event. In an Instagram post from 2019, Fallon brought back his ad campaign. Calvin Klein had a banner year, he said in his letter. On The Tonight Show, he showcased the photos and compared his Calvin Klein outfit to that of Jamie Dornan, who was a guest. While Fallon is completely clothed in his ad, Dornan showcases his lean figure in a pair of CK underwear. Dornan is the star of 50 Shades of Grey. Since when does Calvin Klein make mechanics' outfits? Fallon made the joke, "I don't have enough clothes to wear," while doing another segment for The Tonight Show. Fallon mentioned his ad while thanking people. According to Fallon, who grinned as his ad played, The new Calvin Klein ad starring Shawn Mendes is the second sexiest Calvin Klein ad of all time. Jimmy Fallon has been performing for decades, and it would appear that his need to amuse isn't something he can simply turn off. Fallon reportedly loves to let loose with his musical talents, especially when the cameras aren't rolling. At the Old Stove pub in the Hamptons in 2013, Fallon was caught on camera leading a wild sing-along of Billy Joel's Piano Man, which was one of those instances. While on vacation in the Bahamas, Fallon tried a comparable trick. At the Grey Cliff Hotel and Restaurant in Nassau, the comic allegedly got the crowd singing Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen with the help of a pianist, as reported in the Caribbean Journal. He continued with another Queen song, We Will Rock You, before breaking into a Backstreet Boys song. As it turns out, The Tonight Show's host is the one who started the series Wheel of Musical Impressions, which features musical parts. The revelation that Jimmy Fallon utterly messed up his courtship with Nicole Kidman made her 2015 appearance on The Tonight Show stand out. A buddy contacted him to let him know that he was with Kidman, who wanted to meet with him to discuss a possible role in her upcoming comedy, Bewitched. That was the beginning of it all. Even though they were just 10 minutes away, Fallon confessed he freaked out when his pal told him. Nicole Kidman shocked him during their talk when she confessed that she had feelings for him back then. In a fit of incredulity, Fallon asked whether they had gone on a date unknowingly, her expression betraying her amazement. When Kidman and Fallon hung out at his apartment, she recalled that Fallon was uninterested and barely spoke to her. Then it came to her when Fallon started playing a video game. He extinguished whatever romanticism that might have been there. According to Kidman, who recalled that she decided to leave after approximately 90 minutes, it was terrible. According to her, there was no chemistry, so I left and went. Perhaps he is gay, I thought. There are several reasons why Jimmy Fallon's comedic 2005 show Fever Pitch proved pivotal. In addition to documenting the first World Series victory by the Boston Red Sox in over 80 years, the film also served as the means by which he met Nancy Juvonen, the future wife of the protagonist. In 2004, as Juvonen was there to support her best friend Drew Barrymore, as host of Saturday Night Live, she met Fallon for the first time on set. Nancy Juvonen developed feelings for Fallon while she was working as a producer on the Boston film Fever Pitch. The tight-knit set environment felt like a camp, and she was particularly struck by Fallon's amiable, lively, and music-loving demeanor, which she discussed later on The Tonight Show. Observing his infectious joy as he played with another producer's young children was the icing on the cake, as she put it. They tied the knot in 2007, and since then they've had two daughters, Winnie Rose 2013 and Frances Cole 2014. Because Fallon hosted The Tonight Show from his house throughout the epidemic, with Juvonen running the show and his girls frequently appearing as guests, viewers got to know Fallon's family. The death of Jimmy's mother rocked his otherwise stable life. His mother, Gloria Fallon, had fought cancer for a long time, and her death devastated him. After his mother, Gloria Fallon, died away while he was a young man, the comic temporarily suspended his NBC nightly program. In a heartfelt tribute to his mother, Jimmy Fallon paid tribute to her on The Tonight Show. As Fallon related a story about his mom, he suppressed his emotions. When my sister and I were little, our mom would take us shopping while we held hands. Whenever she said, "I love you," she would squeeze my hand 3 times, and I would return the gesture by saying, "I love you too." Tragically, Fallon's voice cracked as he recounted the past week spent by her side in the hospital. "I grabbed her hand and squeezed 'I love you,' and I just knew we were in trouble," he recalled. He continued by expressing his gratitude to the fans who had shown unwavering support for him and his family following his mother's passing. The host assured viewers that they could count on the entire cast and crew to keep on the good work of spreading joy and optimism. "I will never stop attempting to make you laugh," he promised his mother as he concluded. A producer for the show also tweeted his condolences to Gloria Fallon's family and friends. She was deemed the best by Mike DiCenzo. He goes on to note that many on the production crew were shocked and saddened to hear of her death, since she was beloved by many. Like many others, he was moved to tears by Jimmy's moving homage to his mother. The producer praised Jimmy's touching tribute to his mom. My goal in life is to make you laugh, Mom. Bye, my dear. There was a lot of crying on my part. We were all. Accusations of sexual assault and grooming of a juvenile were brought against Jimmy Fallon, his former Saturday Night Live co-stars Horatio Sanz and Tracy Morgan, and the show's creator, Lorne Michaels, in a lawsuit that was filed in 2021. Jane Doe, the lawsuit, stated that she met Lorne Michaels and that Fallon introduced her at multiple Saturday Night Live after parties, where she also mentioned her website. At these gatherings, she claimed Sands touched her improperly, and she said that Fallon and others knew about it. The lawsuit was finally dismissed without prejudice in November of 2022, even though none of the accused, including Fallon, made any public statements regarding it. Based on interviews with over a dozen current and former Tonight Show staffers, a bombshell expose was published in September 2023 by Rolling Stone. Behind the scenes, those employees said that Fallon had fostered a hostile work environment. 2 current employees and 14 former employees, including members of the production crew and authors, who wished to remain anonymous due to concerns of reprisal, had their accusations published. Rumor has it that Rolling Stone contacted 80 more current and former employees of The Tonight Show, but none of them were willing to talk on record or had anything nice to say about their time there. According to Rolling Stone's report, various sources claimed that Fallon had a history of angry outbursts and attacking staff when they were upset. They also claimed that previous senior staff had bullied and belittled them, and that the dressing rooms of guests were often used as cry rooms for employees to vent their stress. An ex-employee detailed how nobody ever told Fallon no and how they never knew which version of him to expect from day to day. On set, tensions would rise if he was in a foul mood, and workers would do their best to avoid making small talk in the hopes of preventing an explosive reaction. When reached by Rolling Stone, Jimmy Fallon's representatives chose not to comment on the claims regarding his conduct. A representative from NBC, however, spoke with the magazine and said that, as is the case in any workplace, employees have voiced concerns on occasion. The representative further stated that these matters were thoroughly examined and that relevant measures were implemented. A former employee spoke with Rolling Stone about how they would have preferred an apology from Jimmy Fallon or NBC. Given the considerable turnover on The Tonight Show since Fallon took over and the fact that many of the individuals who raised concerns about the issues are no longer employed by the network, they considered that this would have been the most responsible and accountable thing to do. Afterwards, Fallon addressed the claims made in that article, although privately. Fallon expressed his embarrassment and shame to his workers. "If I offended you or anybody close to you, I apologize," according to those who spoke with Rolling Stone. "To be honest, I'm too embarrassed to tell you." Regardless of the controversy surrounding him, Jimmy Fallon will be remembered for his musical talent, charisma, and unique blend of humor, which allowed The Tonight Show to be a platform for both comedic and emotional moments. Redefining celebrity interviews and injecting television with a lively, accessible energy, he became a late-night phenomenon.